I'm delighted to extend hearty congratulations to the UTC Group on the launch of the UTC Global Balance Fund Limited here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I must acknowledge that this mutual fund is the first mutual fund in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, having been launched in November 2023. Today it's the 4th country, so it's rolling out. We have 8 countries, started in St. Lucia, then St. Vincent and the Grenadines, now Grenada, and now St. Kitts and Nevis. So 4 down, 4 to go. Remember, it's financial inclusion. All our members have to be included. This has been some time in coming, almost 30 years ago, when we were working on this initiative. And the truth is that the governments went ahead and we enacted the securities law. The securities law has been in place since 2001. And of course, there was preparatory work leading into the enactment of the law. There were attempts, but unfortunately, we have not been able to get over the line until a very recent vintage. And so I am very pleased that we are now at this juncture where we have not 1, but 3 collective investment schemes. But UTC Balance Fund is the first, and you'll always be the first. So this is new to the currency union, but mutual funds are not new. Pooled funds are not new. In fact, I believe dating back to over 250 years ago, in Holland, we had pooled funds. The birth of the modern mutual fund started about 100 years ago in the United States. So while we are launching here in 2025, this is not new. But we're finally here. And for my predecessor, Sir Dwight, for Wendell Lawrence, former director of the Central Bank's Board, and others who've toiled, we continue to work. And it's a relay. You hand over and we keep it moving. And we are happy we are at this point. The ECCB is very pleased to support this initiative because it aligns with our own vision for financial inclusion in our currency union. We verily believe that the financial system should work for all except illicit actors, except bad actors. And when I say bad actors, I speak about people who want to abuse and misuse the financial system for crime, fraud, money laundering, terrorist financing, proliferation of financing, and the like. So this is something that we feel very strongly about. And just to say, as I said on Tuesday evening, financial inclusion, simply put, is access to financial services such as banking, payments, credit, investments, and insurance. That's financial inclusion. But there's more. Those services must be delivered in a manner that's affordable, fair, and transparent. There's an ethical side to this that we must never ignore. So this aligns with the ECCB's vision for financial inclusion in the currency union, and that is why we're happy to support it. But if you think about what this is all about, it is a collective investment program, a pooling of funds. That is not new to our currency union. We can go back to our Susu days, for those who remember Susu, or as our Creole-speaking countries would say, Kudme, or partner hand, if you're in Jamaica or other parts of the region, the origin of which is in West Africa and the Caribbean. This is what this arrangement is built on, the principle of pooling our collective resources. And by the way, this is what our credit unions are built on, the principle of members coming together to pool their resources for mutual benefit. And I'm sure I saw a credit union member or leader in the room. Yes, I see Mr. Keekleaf Philip, and I see others in the room. But more than that, this is what your central bank, our central bank, is built on. The pooling of foreign reserves of our 8 member countries, which makes us stronger. And as you have seen, and you know, has delivered monetary stability for the last 49 years. Well, I would thank you for the applause, not for me, of course, but for all those of us who work. But I just want to say we tend to be a little reticent about applauding our good work. And that is something as part of our own self-belief and self-confidence as a people and as a civilization we have to examine. There are things we do that are world-class. There are things we do that stand the test of time, and we ought to be proud. And we ought to tell our children what it is that we do, so that we perpetuate the legacy of caring and of collective action. So you can't be shy about that. 49 years of monetary stability is no mean feat. And you can look around the region and around the world in larger countries, much larger, where that is not so. But I digressed. So the point I'm making is that this notion of pooling reserves, pooling resources, is in fact what this mutual fund is predicated on. The managing director told you that in our region at this time, only 1 in 25 persons, 4%, are invested in our Eastern Caribbean Stock Exchange and the platform. We want to change that, and our vision as part of the big push of wealth creation is to move from 4% to 20% over the next 10 years, over the next decade. That means we have to sprint, maybe even fly, because there's so much lost time and we have to make up so much time. If you think of the regional government securities market, which has been going on, so this is where the governments raise resources through treasury bills and bonds, notes, for the last 20, 21 years. That market has allowed our governments to raise over $20 billion. A major success. And again, people like Mr. Blake, you must take credit for your own hand in building this market. Let's give him a round of applause. But here's the thing. 97.5% of those investors are institutional investors. Only 2.5% are individual investors. So to move this needle and to create this big push and this momentum, we have to get individual investors, ordinary folks, investing in our markets. And that is why I applaud the Global Balance Fund Limited initiative. Because with a threshold of US $100, 270 EC dollars, whosoever will may come. And as Nigel said earlier, of that fund so far, 95%, I believe you said, I was very pleased to hear that, are individual investors. That is an important metric of success in this enterprise. It cannot just be the institutional investors, the banks, the credit unions, the insurance companies, and so on. We want them too, but we want our people to benefit. In the United States, it's 3 in 5 persons are invested in the stock market and are creating income and wealth creation on a perennial basis. And I don't want to go ethnic this afternoon, but why it is that in advanced economies, with people of a certain hue and complexion, of a certain ethnicities, can invest and create wealth for themselves and generations, and we in the Caribbean find ourselves lagging where this is concerned. That does not sit well with me, nor should it with you. And that is what we must change. This vehicle provides us with an opportunity to change that narrative and to change that reality. We've got to know our history, and we have to be very purposeful about how we're going to change it for the good. So, we strongly support this initiative because we believe, as I said, it aligns with our strategic vision. It aligns with where we need to go on the big push. One of the pillars of the big push is financial wealth creation. And so we want to be able to see our people benefit from that. We talk about diversity in these economies. Diversify away or around tourism. Diversify away from CBI or CIP, so we're not as dependent on that as a source of income for ourselves. Makes sense. But what about us diversifying at the personal level, where we have additional streams of income through the financial market? Many around the world do that as a matter of course. Mr. Blake explained. If you ask your cousin in New York or in Florida or in London, many of them are in investment clubs, like 401ks, benefiting from the markets. Why should this region be left behind? We ought not to be left behind. And that is why this is important. I am taking this time to give a little context, but I want us to understand the moment in time. And with all of the gyrations and all of the vicissitudes of the global economy and all of the uncertainty, to put it euphemistically, this is a moment in time where we must handle our business. This is part of handling our business. We have over $27 billion in the banking system as deposits. But only 4% of our people are investing. We have to change that. How do we move from savers to investors? The first step, an important vehicle for that first step, are mutual funds. And that is what is being launched this afternoon. So I will make it clear, I am not in any position to endorse this particular fund. My professional ethics and responsibility do not allow me to do that, but also be transparent and say to you, I am signing up for this fund this week. So you still have to do your homework. You still have to do your due diligence. It's regulated, so we have some protection there. But anytime you invest, you take risk. So fully aligned with our big push, fully aligned with our vision and priority for financial inclusion. Secondly, very quickly, this is also about building resilience in our region. I'm trying to connect dots because this is not just a financial instrument. I'm a development worker. So for me, these things have to make sense in the broader development paradigm. As a region, we are among the most vulnerable, climate vulnerable regions in the world. And our lifelong quest is to build resilience. What is resilience? I define it as the capacity to absorb and withstand shocks and bounce forward. Not back, forward. Resilience has to happen at the personal level, at the corporate level, at the sovereign level, at the regional level, multiple levels. And I think if I ask you the simple question, who is more resilient? Somebody without savings and without buffers and without some wealth, and someone who's not? The answer is simple. The person who has buffers, has some wealth, is more resilient. And if you don't believe me, go and look back at the results of our inaugural Financial Inclusion and Literacy Survey, which we did in September, launched in September 2023, which showed that many of our people, 1 in 2 essentially, are not financially resilient. We have to change that as well. And investing in vehicles like mutual funds will help us to do just that. Finally, to say that even as we launch this product, that is necessary, a big step, but not sufficient. Of necessity, we still must continue the very arduous work of financial literacy. When we did the same survey I just referred to, the results showed that only 61% of our people, well, 12.2% of 20, a score of 61% was financially. Essentially, we didn't make the passing grade. So let me break that down. The passing grade is 70%, we got 60% for financial literacy. That survey found that financial literacy rates are low in many of our countries. So even as we talk about adult literacy of 95 and 98%, financial literacy is low. The fact of the matter is there are people with advanced degrees who are not financially literate. Oh, you took offense? No, don't take offense. There are people with advanced degrees who cannot manage a checkbook and cannot manage money. So the enterprise of financial literacy is paramount. And Omar, I want to commend you and the team for the work you have been doing. Because going around and doing this work, you're not being paid for this. This is not going to generate to the bottom line, at least not at this hour. But it is necessary, it is vital work in financial literacy. And so we have to continue to partner with you and others. What the stock exchange does, Mr. Blake and the team, what we're doing at the ECCB. My frustration with all of this is that we are not yet at scale. For all the people we've touched, as a central bank, we've been doing financial literacy for over 20 years, since 2002, 23 years. We've touched a lot of lives, hundreds, I would say thousands now, but there are hundreds of thousands to touch. In this currency union, we have 650,000 people. We have to touch them. We have to get our young people into an investing culture at a very early. You see the same way that they're in this gaming culture? This gaming culture, I won't say too much on that now. I want to see us move into an investing culture starting at that level. So we have a lot of work to do in financial literacy and digital literacy. A lot of work to do. So I commend you what you're doing there, and I'm saying to you we want to partner with you and others to build that up. To the extent that we do that, that's an enabler for the investing culture that we want to create in this region, so that more and more people not just strive, as we like to say at the central bank, but thrive. Finally, I welcome the digital application, the online boarding. And I want to press you to continue to move in that direction with a mobile app. Because our young people have to be able to get on board online, on their smartphone, and be able to open their accounts and fund those accounts. That's what they do. That's what they know. Anything about go to the website, check frequently, ask questions, check me to, forget that. You lost that sale. You lost that business. And I will tell you from personal experience, because I was in Antigua a few months ago and I was speaking to a young man about this very topic. And when I said to him, when he asked me, well, he was ready to sign up, he wanted it, and I said, put him to the website. I saw his face. What he didn't see was my heart. But I felt I had let the young man down. It has to be easier than that. That's the challenge in the digital age. We can rise to that moment and meet that moment. On behalf of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, I warmly congratulate the UTC on the launch of the Global Balance Fund Limited here in St. Kitts and Nevis as you continue your rollout across our currency union. The ECCB strongly supports this initiative. We are aligned and we are willing to partner with you as you go forward. I say to our people, please give this your full attention. It is an opportunity that we've long worked for, toiled for, anticipated. It is now in your hands to grasp. So seize it. Thank you. God bless you all.